Okay. Hello and welcome to another fucking Islanders podcast. Things are looking better.
Do
Things
you
are
see how
looking
yellow
sunnier.
I
This is
am?
a happier day. We are deep in the thick of the playoff race, and it
It is.
looks like daylight is approaching. I am here with Dino Dangle, Mike, and Brandon Gaines.
That's
Boys,
me.
how are we doing?
This is supposed to be neon. Doesn't it look like cream on the camera?
Yeah, it really does.
I don't know why. That's such weird that it changed the lighting like that.
Ah, it looks like bright yellow, kind of.
It's not. I mean, well, whatever.
Eh,
Maybe.
great.
I own poor people shirts. I buy those like 12 packs.
Five Below, right?
Great.
You go to
So,
Five Below and you have to get
boys,
them.
how are we feeling?
Everyone here should be feeling excellent.
State of the island.
The vibes have been awesome. This team
Hmm.
has played like a play. Now, granted, there was that small 2-game stretch where we were pulling our hair out, but
Yes.
when you go over the last 20 to 25 games, that's almost irrelevant because they've been killing playoff teams, and that's really all you have to look at. So
Playing down to your opponent will happen. The good thing is
I
the
hate when
people
people
that they
say that.
needed to beat, they have beat.
I think playing down to your opponent is something from like the 80s. Every team in today's NHL can beat any team. There really is like no, and it's such a controversial thing, but there's no bad teams. You can lose to any team on any night. The Leafs could lose it. I mean, remember when Tampa lost to Columbus in 4 games? I mean, Columbus wasn't a great team. They barely snuck in. They certainly weren't as good as this Islanders team. They had Panarin, I guess, at that time, but
Detroit
weren't
doesn't
any-
even have lineup, so again, parity is everywhere.
yeah,
You're
I'm
both
saying, and
right.
that Buffalo team is good, right? You would say.
You're both right, but when I'm saying play down to your opponent, I don't mean like, oh, I'm surprised that they let the Blue Jackets win, or I'm surprised that they let the Sabres win. It's more of they play a worse style of hockey, and they just play an overall worse game against teams that
That are
are
lower.
not as good.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just saying with how strong the parity is today. You look at a team like Buffalo. You know, if you quickly glance over the roster, you're going to miss that they have like a 50 goal scorer.
Oh, Buffalo looks phenomenal.
Obviously,
We
their
say
goal.
this every year. Yeah.
I think if they had it, and there are a bunch of teams like this. You can look at Calgary. You can even look at a team like LA. If they had better goaltending, they'd probably be even higher in the standings.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially LA. Phoenix, Copley, and Quick were not doing it earlier in the season.
Although, to be fair, though, for the Kings, Corpusal has played very, very well for the past 3 weeks.
He's been much better. Yes.
And Quick's been amazing for the Knights.
Yeah, quick.
Yeah,
Hockey's weird. Hockey's really weird, man.
that's true.
It's really, really weird.
It's
You know, and
insane,
it
right?
sucks. It sucks that the Islanders, couldn't make any Varlamov trades out of one of those two teams. But in fairness, when you look at the Kings, they not only got Corpusal, they dumped Quick's contract entirely with no salary retention, and they got Gavrikov. So now their left side is solidified. They get themselves more necessary goaltending depth, and then the Golden Knights just gave up Magic Beans for Quick, who's been great for the Knights. So you got to look at it on both sides when it comes to trades. Like the Kings made out well. The Vegas Golden Knights, I believe, just clinched the playoffs tonight. They made out well with that Quick trade as well. So it sucks from the Islanders' perspective in terms of gaining assets per se. But again, there's always both sides of the coin here.
Well, I mean, you look at it like this: as amazing as Ilya Sorokin is, I feel like he cannot be playing 70 games. It's just 60 games. I don't think he's that type of goaltender. I mean, I don't think it's any coincidence that he's got all these wins and the team is playing much better than they were in the beginning of the year. He wasn't carrying them to a solid record in the beginning of the year. And you could say, oh, but it's because the team wasn't playing well. Now that the team is playing well, he doesn't have to go above and beyond. He had a few games where he did, but all he has to do is just be good, and they win. But the thing is, this is awesome to have Varlamov because I don't think we're as strong as a team like Boston. And I don't think I don't even think we're as strong as a team like Carolina. Even without Svechnikov, they're a very well-rounded team. When you have two goalies like that, you can essentially run both in a playoff series. Whereas a team like Carolina, I don't know if they can do that. So
yeah, with Carolina though, I worry about the age of Brent Burns on the defense. I think not having Svechnikov really hurts their winger depth. They don't have Nina Ryder anymore either.
I'm just saying, having Varlamov, keeping him, and making the playoffs, Brandon, there's value in that. Now, if the Islanders miss the playoffs with Varlamov, then I would see why you're angry, because then we should have gotten something for him, right? Like, that's a waste.
But again, like with those two teams, though, the Golden Knights and the Kings, like there was nowhere for the Islanders to move them. Yeah. There was nowhere for them to go.
But situationally, if you make the playoffs, having two goalies does help. There's no argument against that.
Of course it does. You look at the Capitals with Grubauer and Holtby, the Penguins with Murray and Fleury.
When Fleury went down.
The Blues with Binnington and Jake Allen. You know, the Tampa Bay Lightning are like the one exception because they had Vasilevsky and they never ever had to resort to McElhinney or Elliott.
Even though me and you will argue to death that you should go into everything with one goalie, because it's just, I'd rather have a more complete team.
I disagree. The Dynasty era Islanders, though, they had Resch and Billy Smith, though. They had a tandem. I mean, Smith played a bigger bulk of the games, but Resch was able to hold his own.
That's my point. I mean, I still would prefer a Lightning situation over what we would run, having to pay both these goalies. You know, we're lucky with how Sorokin came in, because if he was here that whole time, we would have already probably been paying him $8 million, and then you're paying Varlamov $5 million. You would have 13 and a half tied into two goalies. They're very lucky it's only 9 right now.
So here's the thing.
To afford an Engvall. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to.
Here's the thing. If the additional money that you're allocating because you do not have Varlamov goes to a player like, say, Braden Point, I completely understand where you're coming from. If the additional money that you're going to overlay for not having Varlamov goes to like a third line right wing and a depth forward or somewhere, then I think it's more important to have that second goalie, because the ability to kind of like change momentum in a series, to have a second goalie that's actually elite that can come in and steal games for you and instantly propel your team is so much more valuable than, say, Cirelli or a Foot or something along those lines.
Wouldn't you argue it depends on how your team is built? Now, maybe you can use that argument either way, but I would say the Islanders' biggest strength is rolling 4 lines. You would need that money more so to have an Engvall. Then you're right. Then a team like Tampa to have Cirelli's a big player for them, but that's a fair example. Is like, if anything, in my opinion, a team like Tampa should be running the 2 goalie system. The Islanders should be trying to complete their team a little bit more, because who's your depth? Who are you going to on your depth? That's way worse.
I think they run 4 lines, but I think more importantly what they do is they have really, really solid, consistent goaltending all the time. Like, the Islanders are a team that gets by because they have great goaltending. If you didn't have Sorokin, and God forbid you needed to go to Corey Schneider, this team would not win. It simply wouldn't.
Nope.
Well, don't have Corey Schneider as your third option. That's probably part of the problem.
But he would be your backup.
And then a lot of these teams have these young studs just waiting to play. I mean, that they.
But who is our young stud?
We don't have one.
Exactly.
Okay, but it's very easy to get one. You just grab one in the second round or something.
I know that, but that's not really a luxury that we have right now.
All right, Brandon, sorry.
No, I'm pointing.
Wait, hold on. Do you see how he wrote Line A?
Yeah, in the mentions, yeah. It's supposed to be
Line A, not Line A.
Yeah, you typed Line A.
Whatever.
I'm so confused. I'm like, what team are we talking about?
Yeah. No, I figured it out right. I figured it out right away. The problem is with the Islanders' mid to bottom 6 depth. is if somebody underperforms that gets hurt, we've seen time and time again, the Islanders just have to keep plugging back Bailey in.
Yeah,
God
people
forbid,
step up.
Holmstrom's underperforming, or let's say Cal Clutterbuck gets hurt again. Oh, back to Bailey you go. He's arguably, and again, I hate to kill this guy. Well, not kill this guy. Like, I hate to rag on him a lot because he's been through a lot of bad Islander moments, like within like his 3 to 4 first 4 years of his career. Brought up too soon to the NHL. Should have spent some time in the juniors, followed by Bridgeport early on. He should have. But now the criticism is fair. The dude can't skate properly. Dude is a complete liability defensively. His awareness and decision making is completely off, and that's not warranted of a $5 million cap hit right now.
Well, the
it's
effort
not.
level too is just not there. And if you're going to
Yeah,
argue to be, I don't even think it's athleticism. I don't think he's trying. Like, it doesn't look like he's trying out there. And I know that's always been,
Lane doesn't like him. That's a speculation. The speculation is that Lane doesn't like him. And to be fair, more than half the fan base doesn't like him right now.
It's funny because Engvall isn't a very physical player, but you see the effort. You see the effort when he doesn't have the puck. He is working his ass off to get that puck back. When Bailey loses it, it's like he melts into the ice. It's like the play dies.
You know what the hilarious thing is? And I
actually made to retire at this point.
I actually made a big comparison with Engvall. So in 2015, when the Islanders made those 2 trades to get Barzal, followed by Mobilier, when they traded with Edmonton, and then when they traded with Tampa, should have kept that pick because we would have had Cirelli, but that's a different discussion for another day because then we probably wouldn't have gotten Horvat in hindsight. But we essentially, rather than use a late first rounder to select someone like Mobilier, we spend a 3rd rounder the following season, the following draft, to trade for a bigger Mobilier, essentially, in Pierre Engvall. Because that's what he is. That's exactly what he is. He's got a bigger frame. He's got a longer reach now. And that poses a bigger offensive threat compared to Mobilier. Mobilier is not like a tall player. Like, he's actually a pretty small dude. So with the longer reach that Engvall brings, obviously, and combined with the good speed, north-south skating that Engvall brings, he's actually a more bigger, revamped version of who we thought Mobilier would become, essentially. And we only gave up a 3rd rounder for next year's draft to get it. That's it.
I think the tough part, though, is obviously, can the Islanders afford him? And I put it on Twitter. They should be doing everything in their power to give this guy like a Hedl contract.
Well, they have to. Okay, but in order for the Islanders to re-sign anybody, and that includes Hudson Fasching, by the way, who Islanders fans every game fairly want him to stay. And they should get him to stay. The problem is you have to move away Bailey's cap hit. That's the problem. That's the problem. You have to take care of that business first. That way you don't lose any potential leverage in contract negotiations with these players. That's what you have to do. You have to make sure that you can somehow dump away Garth Snow's mistake.
What was Bailey's contract? Did he get 7 or 8 years?
It was 6 years, $5 million per.
Man, it feels like it was more than that. That's just he's been an Islander since I was in diapers. It feels like.
Well, yeah, he's been around for a long time, longer than his contract.
He signed during the 17-18 season of around the deadline week, and then that contract kicked in the following season of 18-19.
Yeah, I mean,
so right now we're in the deal. It's a problem.
I remember looking back on that deal, and Islander fans were defending it to death, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I think that's going to age really badly. And to be fair, it didn't until 2 years ago. So
it's aged badly. It's aged badly because he's not playing with Tavares anymore. So you're seeing him get more.
I think he would suck. I still think he'd suck. I mean,
not like this. I didn't see it coming to this.
It's so funny because they put him with Barzal and Bo Horvat, and it just doesn't seem to matter. He makes both of them look like shit. I mean, I don't know, man.
Speaking of aging badly, do you guys think that, like, because Mike, I know you mentioned the heel deal for Pierre Engvall. Do you think with 20 games of, like, granted, very good production, he would get a deal that high? Because he hasn't been that kind of player comparably for his entire career so far. I see him as like a $2.5–3 million hockey player.
He's making more than that already right now. Why would he get less?
Because he didn't live up to his contract until right now.
I don't think
that's how that works.
Eagles deal, I think, buys only 1 year of unrestricted free agency. Engvall's deal would buy out no restricted free agency.
Well, here's the thing, though. Engvall isn't going to get an 8-year deal. You know what I mean? Like, he's not that type of player. He's going to get probably 3 or 4 years. So
I think 4 years, $3 million is a more than fair deal for somebody that puts up, like, statistically, say, like 5 to 10 goals and maybe 20 to 30 points a season.
I don't think he's going to take a pay cut, though. How much is he making right now? 3.5?
He's making 2 and change right now, yeah.
That's it?
He's making 2 and change. 3 is a fair bump for somebody who has been, up to this point, never hit 20 goals, never hit more than 30 points. He's just not that kind of player.
Yeah, but the problem is with Engvall, there was nowhere for him to go in the lineup. Who is he going to play above?
No, I'm not saying he can't get to that point. I think he's
right. So
he's the prime candidate of a player that you buy low on for term, and you give him years for a low salary because I think he's going to outplay his contract.
The problem is he's 27, right?
If he knows that he can maintain this trajectory with more playing time on the island, he's going to want to get paid more bucks to match that, though.
I don't know if he knows that, though, because his goal this season was to hit 20.
Look at what he's doing, though. Look at what he's doing on the second line, though. You're seeing
everyone think that's sustainable?
Let me. Okay. You know what? What's a good? While you guys discuss that,
this is the bow streak.
I'm going to go look up comparable players and see what they got. I don't think
he's going to shoot 22% his entire time as an Islander. I'm not saying that. But he'll be able to get more opportunities to shoot more often, assuming Barnes is healthy. So he knows that he can get more opportunities to score.
Here we go. You know who has a very comparable adjusted point share? Oliver Bjorkstrand. What did Bjorkstrand get on his contract? I'm interested. How old is he?
I think it's 5.
He got 5?
I think he got 5 and change from Seattle.
That's high.
No. He got 5 and change from Columbus because Columbus dumped him to Seattle to make his
AAV is 5.4.
That's, my goodness, he is not worth that.
Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, he scored 28 goals last year.
Wait, if he scored 28 goals last year, how is he comparable to?
It uses basically adjusted point shares of how they played through those years. So,
but it's wrong.
Well, it's 94% accurate to what Engvall got. If you look at Engvall,
94% accurate. That's half. Like, his goals are cut in half. 35. Mike, you can't tell me that analytically that makes sense.
No, hold on. I got to figure out where that's coming from first.
To be fair, though, that's also the Columbus tax. You kind of have to pay players to stay in Columbus, unless you're making stupid hockey decisions like.
If I'm looking at,
wait, was that through 5 years? So that might be taking an aggregate.
All right, so
okay, so actually, I'm going to look at career and not through 5 years, and I'm looking at. It looks like Nicholas Waugh, Mikko Leinonen, and Colin Blackwell. So those guys didn't get paid too much.
Let me put out a comparable for you guys to Pierre Engvall. You can tell me if I'm on base or off base here. Hudson Fasching.
No, he's better than Hudson Fasching.
No, he's a better skater than Fasching. He's a
better almost everything than Fasching, and I think Fasching's been excellent. I would say the only thing Fasching has on him is hands.
I think both players have been excellent, but I think when Pierre Engvall's shooting percentage goes down, they're going to be remarkably similar players.
I would say Fashion's the
Fashing
better.
is better on defense. Pierre Engvall is better on offense. But they're going to be remarkably similar in terms of point production and like general usage.
It's just very funny because Fashing's probably not going to make much money. Like I
But
think
this is what I'm saying.
But Engvall would. He has a history behind him.
If Fashing gets like 1.5, I think Engvall fairly would get 3.
So Colin Blackwell actually is a comparable to Engvall, a lower end comparable.
Okay.
Points wise. I don't know what the other takes into consideration, but
what's his contract?
It looks like 1.2 mil.
There you go.
But I don't think Engvall is going to take even half that. Yeah, no, I don't think.
No, I don't think Engvall is going to take 1.2. But if you give him 3, that seems fair.
It's interesting. I like looking. There's really no like great comparable. Like even Colin Blackwell is only an 87%.
Lose the GM of the century if you can get Engvall for 3.
Yeah, no, I think 3 million would be insane if they can do that for like 3 or 4 years. That's excellent. You already see the potential of him on the second line, and that's how much I think. I think that would have been an overpayment for Beauvillier. So I'd rather put that money towards Engvall.
But that's what I'm saying. Everybody wants to compare Engvall to Beauvillier, and if you gave Beauvillier 4 or 4.5 million, everyone would see that as an overpayment because we know who Beauvillier is. We're seeing Beauvillier's best game in Engvall right now. I don't think that's going to be this way for his tenure here. I think he's going to be very good. I think he's going to be better than he was in the Leafs. He's probably going to outplay his contract, but I'm not paying him for 20 games of you did really well. I'm paying him for who he has been throughout his career so far.
He's going to want 3 to 4 million per. That's what he's
3 seems fair.
He might want to go a little bit higher though. That's probably what he would want. Considering the fact that you're seeing Beauvillier still, despite having that massive hot streak when he goes to Vancouver, you're seeing him cool down now. He's got 1 point in his last 7 games.
Yeah.
So I think Beauvillier would probably be Engvall's best comparable. Although to be fair, Beauvillier has won successful 20-plus goal season throughout his entire career. Whether you want to say he was used properly or not, that's a different discussion for another day. But I think in terms of AAV, knowing the cap's going to go up slightly bit by bit, assuming there's no more teams coming through expansion, we could discuss that another day as well. That's probably Engvall's comparable in terms of AAV. He's probably going to want.
John, I was going to say it's through 5 years with Bjorkstrand, so maybe it's taking into account that like he only had 40 points in 17-18. Like his first 3 years weren't impressive. And you could even say until the last prior to, he was still only like a 35, 36-point player, which you could say Engvall is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I assume Engvall to be usually.
The problem is you're looking at the contract for Bjorkstrand after he put up 28 goals. Obviously, that's going to be different than a player who puts up 20 or 18, whatever he finished.
I was going to say, like, he has like 15 right now, I think, right? 17. Okay. Yeah. That is not close to 28.
There's only like 6 or 7 games left for the Islanders, so I mean, he's gonna maybe score another 2 or 3, maybe.
If he hits 20, that's great for him.
But yeah, no, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that was too high of a number to pay him. Maybe that 4 million is a little ridiculous. Maybe he should be closer to a 3.5 at most.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought he'd be. I thought he had more points than he did. I don't know why, but maybe because he's playing so well.
That's the thing I think everybody is looking at right now. He's on a heater, and that's fantastic. And if you get players like this that do not usually play this well, and they're going on a heater like this, and you think that they're going to be able to ride this to future success, you hit it as soon as you can, and you give them a contract that they would love to have, that you know they'll outplay.
All right, so are we going to get back to that first topic, though, I guess? Impact of players added. Oh, before trade, has Lou redeemed himself? So who have we added? We've added Horvat and Engvall, right? That was it.
Yes.
And I would say Well, listen, the Horvat talk could go on for like an hour of how I feel that despite some of the strong analytics so far, what I'm seeing from him is second line center. I mean, that's what and I don't think he's a weak second line center. He's probably one of the best. He's like a Nelson. He's one of the best ones in the league.
He's a better Brock Nelson, essentially.
I think he's a Brock Nelson light. I think Brock Nelson's, but to be fair, Brock Nelson, if you look at his stats, he's like in a ridiculous category that like you wouldn't think he belongs in. He's been playing out of his mind the last 2 years. So
I'll be honest, I think Brock is probably one of the most underrated centers in the entire league.
And you look at his goal scoring and it would make sense because he's on par with like the top 15 centers in the league, or 10.
I agree. Yeah.
Or 10, I should say, not 15.
I think it's unfair to look at. Sorry, go ahead, Brandon.
It's easier for Brock though because he's playing in second line situations. So
that's true.
So is Bo Horvat.
No, the line that Horvat's on. Say what you will about his line mates. He is getting the top pair.
Oh no, I was saying on Vancouver. They had Pettersson.
No, Pettersson was above him. It was Pettersson, Kuzmenko.
It's like the Brock Nelson treatment, right? Like he was able to just excel. Now, granted, he wasn't playing with Kuzmenko, right? He was playing with
Horvat was playing with JT Miller and Connor Garland.
Yeah, so that's still very impressive. He wasn't playing with like a Barzell there, you know?
No. I mean, Miller offensively is decent, but Garland
is very good offensively when he wants to.
Yes, but the first half of the year he was dog. You know what? He was bad.
Sure.
And now he's more back into his form, but like that's why fans are like, maybe they should still trade him because he's so inconsistently great.
They better hurry before that contract kicks in next year. They better hurry.
To me, it's almost like JT Miller feels like the end of Yashin. I don't know why, but
the funny thing though with Horvat though is he is essentially, again, they're two different players. Right now, he is essentially getting the first half of the regular season Matt Barzell treatment. I'm like, dude, look at who he's playing with 5-on-5. Yeah. There's no one essentially to open up his game. Sure, he's got Lee with him, but he has a freaking boat anchor to deal with on the other side. They've tried Martin on that line. They tried Cizikas on that line against Washington last night. They've now resorted to Parise and Fashion, which has had its ups and downs, but I think it creates balance. But Horvat 5-on-5 really needs Barzell.
Were you the one I responded to that said that I'm glad they got Horvat over Meyer because it's going to allow them to unlock the full potential of Barzell? Because honestly, he's going to have all the space he needs playing with someone at least near his talent level for the rest of his career. I don't know if it was you, but I'm happy with the trade. I don't think Bo Horvat is worth 8.5. I don't think anybody does. But even Lou Lamoriello didn't think so. But
he was joking at that time. He was
joking, but there's a lot of truth to that you have to pay these guys.
I know, but when you watch that interview that he gave regarding the Horvat deal,
it's tongue in cheek. He's making a point about how everyone is over.
I think Horvat to me is a lot like a Lee. He's got like that $7 million deal to him because he's not a
one-trick pony. He is not a one-trick pony. There's so much more to listen. There's so much. He's great at faceoffs.
He's great on the penalty kill.
Since
I don't think he's only just good at one thing though either. I feel like Anders is better than just good at one thing. He's really good on the boards. But he's really good in front of the net. Scores a lot of goals.
But Anders Lee has very clear deficiencies that I don't think Bo Horvat has.
Really? Because I think so.
In terms of how Horvat has played on the island, the dude has shot like 2.5% over the past 12 games. But aside from obviously being a gem and on the dot, winning faceoffs more often than we hoped that he would win, which is good. He's actually made some really underrated defensive plays as well. Over the past 5
games. You'd hope so because it hasn't been in the offensive.
No. But again, though, it's not just. But that's not something that you would see Anders Lee per se doing. And again, that's not.
I think Anders should get some credit then, right? Because that's his line performing well.
I want to ask you a question.
That's not what you should hope for, though, for only an $8.5 million player.
Of course,
but again, when you don't have the necessary tools around a first line, because for a first line to work 5-on-5, everything in it needs to make sense. Everything. Because if one piece does not make sense for that line, then the objective of the entire line gets compromised.
No, I get what you're saying, but how you describe Bo Horvat is exactly how I would describe another Islander making less money.
Brock Nelson. And that's what I said.
No, not Brock Nelson.
Who?
You don't know? You just described another center on the Islanders.
Oh, you're talking about Pajot.
Yes, identical comparison to what you would say about JG Pajot. He's playing against top lines. He's great at faceoffs. He's responsible defensively.
Do you think at the end of next season, Pajot and Horvat are going to have anywhere similar point or goal totals?
Well, I don't know. Put Pajot with Barzal and put Horvat with whoever Pajot plays with.
No, they're not going to.
I think.
Okay. So
my point to Brandon and you is that we didn't pay $8.5 million for this guy to do just that. We need, and I understand his shooting's probably going to come back up, but the first week and a half, I'd say, of Bo Horvat, I saw him driving the net. I have not seen him drive the net since that first week and a half.
He's able to because he has Barzal to take the edge off of him.
He was doing it after we lost Barzal too, and then all of a sudden it's like I don't
listen. You have a race car driver right now, right? You put him in a Ferrari, and he goes really fast. He wins races. You put him in like a Dodge Dart, he stops going fast. You're looking at him in the Dodge Dart right now, and you're going, "Oh, he can't race. He sucks."
So
put him back in the Ferrari.
No, but this is why I hold Barzal up to such a high standard that it goes beyond his point totals.
And you are correct too. But at that point, if you're going to hold him to that standard, you need to look at the players around him with that being given and say he's going to play with this person for the duration of his contract. Ergo, he will be worth it.
Well, you hope. Granted, some horrible accident happens. I mean,
if Bo Horvat plays with Matt Barzal for 90% of next season, 5-on-5, he will absolutely replicate this goal total.
He'll shatter his Barzal. If he plays with Horvat all season, he's going to shatter his point totals.
My concern, though, Brandon, I was hoping for more of that like Evgeny Malkin effect, and I don't think it's there. And that's fine because I would consider Malkin obviously far superior to what Horvat's ever been. But I was hoping absolutely. It's not even close. In Malkin's prime at his age.
Not every player is an individual goal driver though.
I understand that, but when you're paying someone $8.5 million, you hope that they're going to be able to sneak in a few goals here and there. That's
okay. Wait. I remember having an argument with you months ago about how Barzal was overpaid because he didn't score goals, and your argument was always look at the people who he lined up with.
But Horvat hasn't been playing with Josh Bailey every game. You can't
use this same argument for one person and not for somebody else who's shooting.
Things are not equal. Things are not okay. Give Bo Horvat, Leo Komarov, and Josh Bailey for 3 years. Let's compare point totals with Matthew Barzal. I'm ready. Let's see it. Let's do it.
I think he'd probably be fine.
No, I think Bo Horvat would have 30 or 40 points by the end of each year. He's on that pace right now with better players than that.
He's snake bit.
I think
literally like a 15-game sample size.
A little bit snake bit, a little bit just not doing anything on his own.
Mike,
tell me where I'm wrong. Where is he individually creating chances to score goals? He's not. He's not that type of player.
He's creating chances He's been creating
I mean,
chances every game. He's like hit post like 5 different times the past few games.
I didn't see any posts from him. I don't know if you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yesterday he had an 80% high danger chance for percentage against the Capitals. He just didn't execute. That's going to come, though.
I feel like that's been the story every game. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and
Barzell creating chances. He's just
Barzell had a 10-game stretch where he didn't get any points, but you also have to consider he was with Josh Bailey every single one of those games. That's what I'm saying. If you gave Josh Bailey to Bo Horvat for 10 games, I also don't think. And to be fair, in the games where Bo Horvat had Josh Bailey, they were analytically horrific. I mean, it was tough. And Barzell was never that poor analytically with Josh. If anything, they were positive somehow, even though we all knew he was the problem. I need you to point out, see, the thing with Barzell at 9.25 is you're not paying him that to score goals. I don't think so. You're paying him that because he's like the best transition player in the league. He creates the most chances in the league, and he's going to outpossess the other team the whole time.
But
that's the argument. He's supposed to be Horvat's Nicholas Backstrom, essentially.
But I'm saying, what are you paying Horvat 8.5 for? I need to know. Let me know.
To score goals with Matt Barzell.
Okay. To be his poor man's Ovechkin. That's what you're paying him to do. You're paying him to be Barzell's poor man's Ovechkin in this case.
Exactly. I think yes, but I think you paid him the 8.5 to score goals on his own too, without Barzell.
It's like you have Tristan Jarry on your team, and you've told every single shooter, "Hey, shoot high glove side." Of course, he's going to suck. Everybody knows what to do already. If you put people in situations where they can't succeed, they're not going to succeed. If you put people in situations where they can succeed, they will. We've seen it already in a short sample size. Barzal comes back, Horvat will score.
And I understand there's different combinations that work better with others, but to me, you're making it sound like Anders Lee isn't worth $7 million.
I don't think he is. We all argued he wasn't.
No, but I'm saying, like, when you put Barzell with Lejon, there are no streaks like this. They don't exist.
I think he's worth $7 million, but I don't think he's worth 7 years of $7 million.
Interesting. I don't think he's worth $7 million.
We all listen. We all came on here months ago when the Islanders were playing poorly before Anders Lee stepped his game up again, and we all said that contract was an albatross and you needed to trade it.
Yeah, probably what I said. It's tough because Anders Lee is so useful when he's.
I would trade him still. I would still move him because I would rather replace those goals with 2 to 3 players equaling that same AAV.
Exactly, and then, especially because you're looking at the fourth line and their identity, but there are some games
individually though, his production for his AAV overall is fine.
Yeah,
I don't think that's going to last 7 years. That's my point.
He also has, for some reason, he has strong offensive generation. Although obviously him and Horvat just have not been able to score with it.
Neither of them are great skaters. Anders Lee is a terrible skater.
What's up?
Said neither of them are really good skaters. Anders Lee is a terrible skater. Horvat is a little better, but neither of them are really that better
skater. Much better skater.
I don't think my argument is controversial, though. I don't think you pay someone 8.5 mil when they don't have the same sort of traits that Barzell has to not score goals. In my opinion, that 8.5 is attached to Barzell or not. You're not going to be shooting 2%. So obviously, the reasonable response is he will bounce back. He'll shoot closer to 14%. But I am worried that if Barzell ever goes down again, this guy's just going to disappear.
Let me ask you a question.
Would you know? Do you think there would be a difference if Horvat and Nelson switch spots?
Yes. I think Nelson would get a few goals. Well, that's my opinion. I've seen Nelson do it time and time again, with Bailey or not, with other people. But I think Nelson's better than Horvat. Statistically, he's been the last 3 years. It's not even close.
Top-line defensive matchups are much different, though.
But Bo Horvat was playing second line on Vancouver.
Mike, I got a question.
Yeah, Elias Pettersson's one of the top 7 centers in the league.
That's what I'm saying. And so I'm comparing him to Nelson by the last 3 years of the fact that Nelson gets way less chances than someone like Horvat would on Vancouver.
All right. So Leon Draisaitl.
Bad
Right?
at 5v5, I know. Well, not bad at 5v5, but not.
Insane power play numbers because he plays with McDavid and they have an advantage, and obviously that power play is elite.
I'm trying to see your point, though, here.
Poor 5v5 numbers. Is he worth a contract of, say, if you were to give Leon Draisaitl a contract of $11 million?
Well, how much is he making right now?
He's making
a bargain for what he's supposed to be.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, this doesn't really.
Well, yeah, because he signed that. If
you're giving Draisaitl $11 million because he's putting up near MVP level numbers,
but it's rough.
Is he worth it?
No, it's McDavid, but yeah. Okay, but I still wouldn't like that contract.
What?
I still wouldn't like that contract, but okay. So wait, what was your point? That like I wouldn't like either of their contracts?
Well, no, that obviously Draisaitl is worth it because he's putting up MVP level numbers, and it doesn't matter if it's with McDavid because it's always going to be with McDavid, and they're going to be on the power play, so you're getting those numbers. So he's worth it.
I guess I have to see what the next deal is, right? Because I think he's making like $7 million, right? He's making like Anders Lee.
Draisaitl's making 8.5.
Draisaitl is making 8.5. I guarantee you, on his next contract comes up, he's going to be getting 11 to 12.
I guess we'll see, but I don't know. Like the point I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think anything I'm saying is wrong. Obviously, there's truth on both sides. Has Horvat been playing extremely well despite not scoring? Sure, you could argue that. But my point is, we didn't add him for him to be another JG Pageau. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, but do you think that his scoring is going to go up when Barzal comes back?
Well, you'd hope so, right? But I mean,
so.
But my thing is, when you're paying someone that much money, they need to be someone who can individually create.
That's not how hockey works, though. You're not on the ice by yourself.
The problem, well, no, John, he is creating. It's just for some reason he just hasn't cashed in on the opportunities properly.
Well, he hasn't cashed in because he hasn't really found enough time and space because Barzal is the one that creates time and space for him.
All the time. Players go through shooting percentage runs all the freaking time.
I don't know. I've read a lot because I'm not gonna lie, I haven't watched a ton of Vancouver. I've never been extremely interested in them after they lost the Sedins. Honestly, I used to watch for JT Miller because I thought we were gonna get JT Miller, and I loved how fucking, excuse my language, but how angry he was every time they were losing. I love the passion on the ice because I'd be watching the Islanders laughing and goofing around as they were losing every game, and I'd turn on the Canucks, and this guy's breaking his stick on the boards, punching his teammate in the face. I'm like, yes.
See, that's so funny because I see the opposite of passion whenever I look at JT Miller play.
Well, on ice he wasn't doing very well, but when they were struggling and they were losing, he would let them know, and I like that. I like the vocal captain leadership type of role. But
there's a difference between like playing zero defense, not back checking, and just not caring, and then getting mad at your teammates when they do the same thing, and then like playing a full hockey game and being passionate.
My point was more so as I was watching our team laughing and having a good time, and we were losing every game, and I was getting very frustrated. And all of a sudden,
fine with that if you're putting in 100% effort.
All of a sudden, they stopped smiling. I don't know what happened, but they started winning. They started smiling after they were winning, which was better in my opinion because the laughing and goofing around was pissing me off. And that's when I made that tweet. Mayfield, I think it was 2 minutes left in the game. He trips the guy, clear as day, and he's laughing. And I'm like, why are we laughing? We're trying to win hockey games, trying to make the playoffs.
Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. No, I think how you act on the ice says a lot about how you're going to play. I don't think these teams that win Stanley Cups are goofing around.
Teams are not allowed to be happy. Okay, noted.
That's not teams are not allowed to be happy. It's you shouldn't be happy when you're losing because then you are a real loser.
No, listen. If you put in 100% effort, if you knew you did everything you could, then the game is going to go the way it's going to go, and you shouldn't really be miserable about it.
I have a very
it's a job.
I have a very distinct way I look at the sport because I grew up with Islander teams that sucked, but they would beat the crap out of you till the end of the game. They didn't care. They wanted to make a statement and come back and try. And sometimes in today's NHL, I think players get comfortable. And I think that's a great way to explain how this season went before the last month and a half. They were too comfortable. They didn't work.
They played a different system.
Watch the end of Josh Bailey. His comfort level was so high that he said in the interview, "Oh, I thought I was playing well." You thought he was playing well? He had like one goal. He had like one goal in the last 30 games. He's getting paid like a top 6 forward. He thought he was playing well. I don't know.
I have no problem with that at this point. For him, he might have been.
No,
John will say that, but he'll rip JT Miller for saying the same thing.
He can't be naive. You can't be naive.
Look at what Bo Horvat said. Look at what Bo Horvat said.
It's not about being naive. You're playing out the end of your contract. You need to realize that.
You can't say.
Leave him on the bus. I don't know. Like
you can't say.
The coach's decision, not his.
I wasn't playing well. You can't say that.
Did you see what Bo Horvat said after this streak of him not scoring goals? You see what he said? He said, I need to. Yes, it does.
I don't think so.
He said, I need to carry my own weight or something of that ilk. And
no, that's what he said. No, he said.
I think that was very professional. That's what a leader does. That's what someone who cares about winning does. Is they say, listen, I need to do my part.
That's fine, but I think you saying people don't care about winning because they're happy is a little fucking like it's a stretch.
I don't think Josh Bailey gives a crap what happens on the ice because it reflects how he plays. The Islanders' identity is hard work.
No,
and this guy wouldn't go for a hit.
That's insulting. That's insulting. I'm sorry.
I don't think you can scratch for 6 games in a row if you're trying. I don't think it happens.
That's not his game. That's never been his game.
Okay, but he's not good enough for it not to be his game anymore. Show that you care.
Okay, but if he's not good enough, then he's not good enough. Take him off the ice. That's not his problem.
I agree. You're right about that. We've had an absolute failure of the last 2 years of coaches not being able to recognize he was done.
That's fine, but that's not really his fault. You can't look at the coach and be like, "Hey, man, I'm spent."
You can't. But you can't say, "I thought I was trying. I thought I was playing really well." You can't say that.
That's what you're supposed to say.
Is it?
Say I sucked. I need to be better.
No, listen.
No, Brandon, you don't even have to say I suck. Say, listen, my effort level hasn't been there. I don't think I've been playing as well as I should.
Hold yourself accountable. Be like Horvat. Be like Romanov. Hold yourself accountable when you have a bad game or two.
I'm not going to lie, though. Bailey's comment, it is rare where I laugh out loud when I read something because I didn't watch it. But I was dying
with it. I don't fucking care. Funny. Dude, as long as he's not throwing the rest of his teammates under the bus, he could fucking say, like...
He could go away.
he could fucking say, like, bro, I was ripping it out there. I don't give a shit.
That Matthew Barzal guy stinks.
All right. This has gone
I'm tired of playing with him. Only I can give the puck away, not him. That's my job.
This has gone so far off the rails. We need to get back. Okay.
I can't believe Josh Bailey said that. I hope he never plays a game again. I hope they LTIR him.
They might.
I hope
that could be a sneaky thing they could do.
Everyone was rooting for the banner raising. They're going to raise him from the rafters.
I hope when they raise the banner, just to spite you, they have a quote underneath that said, "I was playing well."
Yeah.
You can't give him a freaking banner.
You know how all the ones have like their nicknames? Josh will be Josh. I thought I was playing well.
That's fine. Listen, if there is any player that has earned that right, it's him.
I think you broke Mike, John.
That was the funniest thing from John. He thought it was to spite me, but I would literally laugh every time I'd see it. Are you kidding me? Yeah, like the architect, and then you have Josh. I thought I was playing well, Bailey.
I just think it's funny. Like, I have no problem with it.
How do you have no problem with it?
But it's just meaningless. What is the point?
But JT Miller said the same thing, and you were willing to call him out for his lackadaisical play on the ice.
I'm willing to call JT Miller out for his lackadaisical play. No. There is no.
Circles around Josh Bailey.
No. There is a big difference here. I'm willing to call JT Miller out for his bullshit lackadaisical play because he looks at every other player on the team and goes, "What are you doing? How are you making this team better?" When he knows he's not trying.
I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think Vancouver's
no. That's some weak shit.
I think since the Sedins left, Vancouver's been a circus. But I mean, that's my opinion.
Vancouver has been a circus, but there's a very big difference between saying, "I thought I was playing well," and saying, "I'm not the problem."
I guess.
When you say, "I'm not the problem," that is a definitive statement of saying, "Your team needs to reach my level."
In fairness, though,
I'm not the problem. He said what Josh did. He said, "I think I'm playing well."
In fairness, though, to JT Miller's defense, he wasn't and still wasn't is still not the problem for the Canucks.
Oh, yeah, he was. I think he
had a myriad of problems that are far greater than JT Miller.
Yeah, it'd be like Josh Bailey on one of those old Islander teams, that type of situation.
Yeah.
You look at, besides, there's also a difference here in that JT Miller is in the prime of his career and Josh Bailey is clearly past the tail end.
So recognize that you're not playing well and don't say, "I thought I was playing well."
Yeah, I don't know.
Come on.
John, just to clarify with you, though, he didn't say it was. He didn't throw his teammates under the bus in the interview. He said, "I thought I was playing well." Even though they said, like, "Could you be better defensively?" He's like, "No, I think I'm playing well defensively. That's why my numbers are down because I'm playing responsibly." That's what he said. He didn't throw his teammates under the bus in the interview.
But no, he didn't throw his teammates under the bus in the interview. But during games, he consistently yells at them and goes, like, "What are you doing? Why are you not here? Why are you not there?" When he's not doing it himself.
You want me to go to the battle range? Is this what this is about?
No. To say I'm playing well defensively and to not back check is inexcusable. It's not like he's not good. He just doesn't care.
We could have a Josh Bailey podcast because I could go on forever about how much I hate him. But I don't hate him. I almost feel bad for him because he makes so much money and he's not even worth league minimum. It's tough.
Why would you feel bad for somebody that's actively taking money? He's the luckiest guy in the league.
Because he's the nicest player on the team. You don't want to see the nicest player.
Is he?
Yeah, deserves it. I don't know about that. But he's
okay.
No,
I would root against the nice guy. You root for the nice guy.
If there was any player on the entire team where you go, "I want this person to be overpaid for no reason," it's Josh Bailey. He's the face of the Islanders.
Like 900 or 800, not at 5 million. I don't know. We can end this discussion. We could go on for another hour because I hate his play. I got to be very careful with my words here because I don't hate Josh Bailey. I hate what he's turned into.
But that's not his fault.
Oh, okay.
What is he supposed to do?
Get better.
Not even get better. Brandon, not get better.
That's not an option.
Work harder.
No.
Someone like Cizikas is a net negative on the ice. We all know that if you follow any analytics. He's always a net negative, but he works his butt off.
Casey Cizikas is also a much younger, better hockey player.
How? Cizikas is much younger?
Yeah, Cizikas is only 1 year old, 1 year younger than Bailey, John.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're around the same age.
Well, they seem, but no, their games do not translate. Cizikas is a much better.
I think you're mixing up hitting with effort for me, though. It's an effort thing that's killing it for Bailey for me. Is that he'll throw the puck away and then he'll watch.
It is a skill thing as well.
Listen, you see Bo Horvat or Adam Pelech throw the puck away. Well, Adam Pelech's a great skater. Let's do Bo Horvat because Bo Horvat is
And Pellick's not a great
skater.
skater either. Pellick is not a great skater.
I think Pellick's an excellent skater.
He's an above average skater. Romanov's a good skater.
And Pellick's stamina is excellent. I said that last night.
Pellick's a good skater. Romanov is a great skater. Engvall is a
I don't think Pellick is a good skater either. I just think he's above average in terms of skating. But
here's my point, though. When Bo Horvat turns the puck over, he busts his ass to go get that puck. It's only 3 years younger than Josh Bailey. I mean, it's an effort thing for me. It's not even talent. He's just
Bailey is clearly not that fast anymore, though.
He wasn't fast to begin with.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's not a speed thing for me. I don't know why you think it's a speed thing or a thing.
But when you get to a point where you realize how much energy you have because of how, like, the style of hockey you play, and you realize, okay, I'm not really that good anymore. I can't do the things I used to do, so I'm going to need to try to, like, make this work sparingly. It's up to you to try to figure out the moments where you try to make it work.
I don't know, for some reason, Bailey,
he should not have been on the team. This is a coaching problem. This is not his problem. I don't blame him.
He reminds me of Mike Comrie. That's just how I feel about him.
Yeah, no, I agree. But was that Mike Comrie's fault or was that the coach's fault?
I don't know. I'd rather not dig into that hole. All right. Line A, going back to Trot's style of play. John wrote Line A. Has Lou redeemed himself, though? The answer is, for now, yes, he has. No one's going to say otherwise. He did the right thing if they wanted to make the playoffs, and it succeeded.
Did I write Laine? Because that's how you spell Lane, you stupid fucks.
Yes, no, it's Lane. It's Lane.
What?
Yeah, yes. Where are you getting Laine from? That's Patrick Laine.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I could have sworn it was Laine.
Okay, right. So you can go off on your rant about how the Islanders switched their style of play. In my opinion, I just think they've started playing better. That's what I think. I think they've played smarter. You don't see Romanov going halfway up the ice going for crazy hits. He picks his spots much better now. I see Pellick and Pulock are just rejuvenated back into the players we thought they were. And I think that's been the largest change because Dobson and Mayfield, in my opinion, they're always hit or miss. You're going to get insane Mayfield one night and then underwater Mayfield the next. And Noah Dobson has all the talent in the world to be good, but he decides to, forget it mid-game.
The Islanders over the past 5 weeks, 5+ weeks since they haven't had Barzal, they've buttoned up defensively.
Yeah,
they have. It's not
as a team.
It's not like Trotz hockey. It's just playoff defensive style 5-on-5 hockey. It's a style of hockey that you're seeing Minnesota play really well at, despite not having Kaprizov off.
It is specifically Trotz hockey, and I will explain why.
Before John goes into that, Brandon.
No, they're not playing run and gun, relentless forecheck anymore. They're not doing that anymore.
That is not. No, that's not why it's Trotz hockey.
No. I'm saying that was the style Lane Lambert was coaching, though. He was
coaching. That was the initial style.
No, Lane Lambert was in the beginning of the season till the Barzal injury. He was trying to coach more of a modern style Panthers running.
I agree.
Which does not work for the makeup of this team.
I agree.
It doesn't work. And honestly, it's not a recipe for cup contending success either. It's not.
Yes.
So
I still see the demon going up past the blue line all the time.
No, but you can well button up defensively.
But that was his style before too.
No, but there's a clear and obvious difference, though.
No, they're more buttoned up defensively, though. Every time, if they would score a goal or play a tight game, they would fall back defensively for the most part. You get the lead, fall back, maintain the lead, don't blow the game up, and that's it. And that's
the main difference is
now you've seen the Minnesota Wild play over the past 2.5 months. The Bruins have played it all year. Dallas has played it on and off, mostly consistent as well.
I think to John's credit, I do believe there was an interview that Lane did that said that he didn't switch a style. He was teaching them to be more defensively responsible, which I guess, you could make the argument it's more of a Trot style of play. See, what John wrote makes sense, but I don't think it's the Barry Trotz style.
No,
but it's
because
closer.
he didn't invent the style. He didn't invent it.
Yeah.
It's been around.
So
became a head coach. Scotty Bowman was heavily popularized.
I still think they're playing a little bit differently than they were last year. I see a lot more pinching. I see a lot more pinching than they did ever with Barry. Every game.
Yeah, they got to cut back on that too. But
I think it works.
For the forward group, though, the forward group has buttoned up more defensively as well, which takes the edge.
Horvat too.
Yeah, especially Horvat. You're seeing a night and day difference. Every time they would score a goal, they would fall back, be patient, wait for the opponent to make a mistake, cash in.
I still maintain this. I don't think Horvat is a great defensive center. I do not think he's ever been. I think his strength is going to be with Barzell. They're going to be in the offensive zone all the time. You're not going to have to worry about defense.
But
we didn't sign him to play defense. We signed him to play offense, in my opinion. But
of course, but the mentality
he's embraced his role.
When Horvat doesn't have the puck, he has to do what the coach wants him to do to get the puck back. When Horvat gets the puck, then he could do what he wants. That should be the mentality for these players. And, in fairness, all up to it. The run and gun modern style that Lane was trying to coach, I thought would work long term. Currently, it wasn't really working for the most part at all for the makeup of this roster. And all they had to do was just make a few tweaks.
That's what I think too.
That's all been a big overhaul.
It doesn't make him a bad coach or a stupid coach. I actually think the fact that he adjusted midway,
it makes him a better coach.
Whether or not you want to use the Barzell injury as a catalyst for that, I think that's actually a redeeming quality for a coach to do, is realize, hey, the system that I was coaching early on wasn't working at this point. We need to button up defensively if we want to make the playoffs. The general manager, made like a huge market trade to get this guy. I need to at least find a way to get this team to play like they could be a playoff contender. And that's something that Trotz didn't do. Trotz never did that for the Predators or the Capitals or the Islanders. He never adapted, for the most part, the way
because it was working.
But no, not all the time though. Not all the time. When it came to playing those, fast.
That's why I think with
Carolina, before Paul Maurice took over as the coach.
It's a lot easier to adjust mid-season than it is mid-series in like the span.
Yeah, the Islanders were already pretty much out of it last year by mid-season, so it was tough.
No. I wasn't even just talking about last year. I'm talking about during the 1920 season before.
Oh, you're talking about
and even in 18-19 when you saw that style, because he coached that style all season long, and the Islanders hit like this wall. They hit this wall from mid-February to. And
that's where you got to get creative. March. I agree. Yeah,
exactly. And Trotz didn't necessarily do that until the players wheeled themselves in, and it took them a while too. And they were in danger of falling out of the division. They were in danger. If they didn't make that miraculous comeback against the Winnipeg Jets.
I still don't know if Lane Lambert's our guy, though. I mean, obviously, I
don't know either.
I said that in a tweet.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
but one thing you have to admit he's done well is he's honed in on the problems and he's fixed them for the most part. He still has this weakness. We still have this weakness where he goes back to something that doesn't work. And you're like, why? And then they lose, and he takes it away. Like Josh throws them on the first line, they get smacked on that unit, and then he takes them off, and they come out flying the next game. He still suffers from a little bit of what I thought Barry was, the stubbornness to stay with something that even if it doesn't work, it's what he knows. But you've seen the adaptation.
Most coaches have that tendency, though. Most coaches, it's not just Lane who has that tendency. No. Let's be fair here.
Sure, everyone does.
Dean Evison from Minnesota.
I'm curious to see what other coaches would have done with Josh Bailey over the last 2 years, because I think getting the scratches out of the way early would have benefited him now, because it would have told him you have to work to keep that spot. You're not guaranteed to be in the lineup. And I feel like that's there was a comfort.
And that's exactly what Dean Evison did with players like Jordan Greenway. Rewarding him consistently with mid third line minutes when he did absolutely nothing to deserve it. And then finally, it's like, you know what? I can't use you anymore. You're not producing offensively. You're not really doing anything for my team. That's why they ended up dumping him to Buffalo.
But my opinion is the Islanders have always had a really hard time of doing that in general, especially under Trotz, who is very particular. Like, it was his way with the lineup, and he would like almost never make adjustments at all.
Never.
And there's a comfort to the team that
structural adjustments he wouldn't. Lineup adjustments sometimes.
Sort of, but Barzal was kind of stuck with the same guys, and I understand you could make the argument it didn't have any help to make it different.
You can make a case that Trotz's ego was his downfall last year.
You never saw Nelson Barzal Lee. I thought that was brilliant from Lane the few times you did.
So you come off a cup victory with the Capitals, then you coach an Islanders team who lost Tavares, albeit Leonard and Grice benefited from Mitchie and Piero, but you still made the playoffs. Okay, you're riding high. Then say what you will about the COVID stoppage. Eastern Conference Final appearance, you lose in Game 6. Eastern Conference Final appearance the following year, albeit a 56-game season when you're only playing in your division, you lose in 7. So if you're Trotz, your ego for yourself is sky high at this point.
Yeah.
So he felt like, nobody can question my decisions that I make from this point on. Nobody can. I don't care. I don't care if I have 8 people on COVID protocol. Goleship, I'm never giving you a start. His ego cost him last year. Aside, as far as certain,
I agree with you.
There were wins. There were wins that were out of his. There were losses that were out of control. Obviously, Barzal being on COVID protocol for a bit, Nelson being hurt, then coming back from injury only to go on COVID protocol. Same with Polak. Those were out of his control. But certain other decisions like running Chara and Green into the ground.
I brought one up, Brandon, how he would never go with the best players when you needed a goal, which is so odd. Sure. Because if you look at what Lane has
consistently as the extra attacker. Sure, absolutely.
Are we going to sit here and argue about Barry Trotz for a half hour?
No, I just want to finish with this point.
I'm comparing the way Trotz made his lack of adjustments last year compared to Lane learning from his mistakes. And
I get that, but it's running very long.
I just want to finish with the analytics when Lane threw out Nelson, Barzal, and Lee was they were scoring at a pace twice as much as the rest of the team normally. So, I mean, it's stuff like that I thought would be common sense that goes against Barry's structure. So, that, All right, what's next? Romanov's impact going forward versus Dobson. I don't know if you want to start, John. You can get your say.
Okay. We don't really got a lot of time left. So Romanov, it seems, has been the better defender as of late, and it's created a situation where before the season has started, we looked at Dobson as the future prospect coming up that was going to be turning heads, and now it seems to be the other way around, with people being more concerned about Dobson going forward because of his lack of defensive skill, and people looking at Romanov and thinking he might be the better prospect going forward because of his defensive adjustments. What do you guys think?
I'll let Mike go first.
Yeah. So obviously I'm pretty high on Romanov. I bought his jersey. I mean, at the beginning of the season, I was definitely very worried because how it went in Montreal was that they gave him too many minutes and he looked like garbage. When you limit his minutes and you give him a second line role properly, it seems like he can be an okay defenseman. He has games where he doesn't look right. And for whatever reason, the last month and a half, he's just been good. I mean, he's obviously analytically, he's never going to be great, in my opinion. He's just not that type of defenseman. He's not like a Pelech. He's not really like a Pulak. But I do think Not right now. I do think he can get better, but I don't think he's ever going to hit that ceiling that they did. But I do see potential in him. He does a lot of the little things right, like good skater. When he moves his feet, he's a great passer. I mean, he's willing to throw the body properly now when he times his hits really well. He works hard in front of the net. Like, you're seeing all these things that great defensemen do, and even ones who get paid a lot don't. So I think if they can keep him at a reasonable price, there's a high ceiling for him. He could be a very good second pairing defenseman. I think that's where he's going to be for his career. And I don't know if that helps the Islanders down the line, but I still see high end second line defenseman in his future, which is good. I mean, that's worth a first. Noah Dobson is definitely the most frightening case of anything, because he's good, he can produce, he can shoot the puck, but his IQ is horrific. I don't know, like, it bothers me sometimes that he makes these mistakes that, like, I don't know, you'd expect a forward to make on defense. Now, I don't think, and John thinks he'd be a good forward, but I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know if he really has I think he's definitely a better defenseman than he would be.
Not everybody's Thomas Hickey, John.
Yeah, I know. Thomas.
Not everybody is Thomas Hickey.
Sebastian Aho should be a forward the way he skates. He's unreal sometimes. Everyone makes fun of how he falls down, but he's a good skater. No doubt about that. When he gets the puck and he's moving his feet, no one's catching him.
I just think his hockey IQ aligns more, like his instincts align more with that of a forward than a defenseman.
Oh, okay. You're talking about Noah. But yeah, no, Noah's frightening for me because he's the type of guy you pay $7 million and then you keep getting the same one you're getting now. And I don't think he's worth that. His points are high. I think the best thing that could ever happen to Noah Dobson is they take him off the power play quarterback. He becomes a reasonably priced defenseman, and I don't know where he fits in the lineup, but right now it looks like he's a third pairing right D. That's just where they have him. And I don't know. I don't know what to say about him because it's so tough. You want him to do well, but if anything, I think he's gotten worse in the last year and a half, 2 years, which is just, I don't know. I know John likes him a lot, but I need to see so much more out of him. And
I think you're right on this.
I need to see him clear the front of the net. The guy is just, for some reason, he's so baby shit soft in front of the net, and you have Romanov punching guys in the face. We need Noah Dobson to evolve. That's for sure.
Okay, Brandon.
All right, my turn. So regarding Dobson, I've had a love-hate relationship with Dobson, and this all started back in the 1920 season. Not necessarily getting the best opportunities right away. They were actually going to play him opening night against the Capitals, but then he felt some sort of stiffness, couldn't play, so Boychuk went in there. Didn't get his ice time properly on the right side until they put Letty back with Pollock and then paired Green up with Dobson. And then obviously COVID hit. Dobson couldn't get any more playoff time because Pollock was fully healthy, ready to go. They rolled Letty Green, Taze Mayfield, Pollock, Pollock. You obviously weren't going to change that. So you thought, okay, if Dobson gets more opportunities, he can maybe succeed. And maybe if he had like a long stint in like Bridgeport to like tune up his game a little bit, maybe he will look better. But as far as 5-on-5 defense goes, I get scared when he touches the puck. I really do. Yeah. Every time he's in his own end, I get terrified. I was at the game on Monday against the Devils, and he made a slight pinch. I know Nelson didn't make the best pass, but you can't freeze at that moment. You can't freeze when Hall is skating right through you. You can't. And you have to make a more effort to get the puck back. You can't just think. You can't just instinctively act like, oh, Sorokin's probably got it. No, the Devils scored, and it's all year 5-on-5. The more ice time that he gets 5-on-5, the worse he looks, and you're seeing actually Lane give him less 5-on-5 ice time over the past few weeks. I think Dobson clocked in at like what 17 minutes of 5-on-5 ice time. That's bad. That's really
For a
bad.
defenseman, that's very low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, for a defenseman who I understand think that he's gonna be a star, dude.
I
He's gonna be
think
nothing.
I hate to say it, but I think that's probably out the window.
Yeah, he's probably gonna be nothing more than a Shane Gostisbehere, Kevin Shattenkirk-esque defenseman, and
If we're lucky.
That's not somebody who I'm willing to pay $6 and $7 million AAV to.
No, that's what's scary.
I am not willing to do that. The dude does not play to his size whatsoever. I don't know where he's getting these credited takeaway statistics from in natural stat trick. I don't. And I've had a love-hate relationship with that website too. Don't get me wrong. I could go on for hours about that, but he doesn't play to his side. I'm not saying you have to hit everybody, because obviously when you hit players, you don't have the puck. So it shows how often you don't possess the puck per se when you hit somebody often. But the thing is, with Romanov, when he hits players or gets in on the forecheck, he gets the puck back. And with Romanov, yes, when that trade happened, there was probably 70% of the fan base who hated it because they wanted the quick line of cocaine to snort with JT Miller, essentially, because he had 90-plus points last year. That's what they wanted. They're saying, we could finally put the puck in the net. No, your biggest problem last year was your defense, because you couldn't get the puck out of your zone. So that was my mentality with the Romanov trade. You traded away a 13th overall 2022 first rounder, which isn't a bad thing to do, because we discussed this in our second episode, how we thought that class was sus compared to how we feel 2023 is going to look. We all agreed on
the guy the Islanders probably would have drafted, just quickly, Brandon, just to finish this up. He's been injured the whole year.
Yeah,
so
Frank
I'm not saying his career is done, but that is a gigantic red flag.
Yeah.
You see something like that.
But in fairness,
if we didn't make a trade, it would look really bad right now.
He would have been the guy that the Islanders should have selected. We agree on that, because very Pajot-esque when healthy, simplifies his game, responsible on the dot, responsible in his own end. That's fine. He fills your organizational center depth role, which was so bare at the time. So I get it, but you want to fast forward the process and maximize your prime years left that you have for Barzal by getting that 22 defenseman right away. So
and I think they did a good job. We said that
with Romanov, and also you get a bonus pick, which allowed them to pick Isaiah George as well. We don't know what he's going to become. I know he's been decent.
He looks good so far.
You don't know if that's going to translate to the NHL.
We'll talk about prospects next time.
Yeah. I don't listen. On a side note, I don't know if Maggio is going to translate to the NHL properly either.
Sure.
We don't know. Same thing with DeFore. We don't know. But with Romanov this year, started off completely inconsistent early on. Had his brilliant moments. Had his bad, poor positional moments. But that being said, the past 5.5 weeks, actually a little bit before Barzal got hurt, aside from the Penguins goal that they gave up after the Horvat power play goal, and aside from the Kings goal, aside from those two gaffes, he's been phenomenal. He's been great. He's been solid, rock solid. His game, he should not be trying to mold his game after Adam Pelech. Nice gap, by the way. He should be trying to mold his game more towards Jonas Brodin. Because Romanov is as good of a skater as Brodin. Pelech isn't. But Pelech's defensive game is a tiny bit better right now than Jonas Brodin. But that's who Romanov should be modeling his game after. And the fact that he's 23 gives him a lot of time to do that. And he's on that upward trajectory right now. I love it personally. If I had to choose between, obviously you would want to keep both. If you could get Dobson at a slightly cheaper price after his next contract, I doubt it. But if I had to choose between the two right now, taking Romanov. And it should not even be up for a debate. You could say, he and Dobson are only 1 day apart in age. They're only 1 day apart in age. Let's not act like there's a huge, month-to-month difference for age. He's young. I love it. I love the way he's been playing. He's going to be a mainstay on this team for years to come. I absolutely love it.
I agree. Okay, perfect. All right. So we don't really have a lot of time. I think we'll probably skip the rest of these and just go to Brandon's question if he has one prepared, and we'll see what we
I
can
got
do
a
from
quick
there.
one too.
All right.
So,
You didn't want to do the conference race? All right.
Well, we can do the conference race, but like it's already past midnight. So if we do the conference race,
No.
we'll skip the question and just do the question next time.
Or we could just do it quick and just say who gets the last 2 wild card spots for each team.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just a quick take, Mike. Who gets the last 2 West spots?
Oh, let's just do East. I don't know. Do East.
Oh, East?
I didn't. Do
Okay. For East, I'm saying Islanders, Florida. I'm saying
Islanders,
Florida.
Penguins.
I'm going to say Islanders, Florida as well. Same with Brandon. I think they just won tonight too, so they've been hot. Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think the Penguins are gonna.
The Penguins get more
Still
difficult.
need the Islanders to go 500 though. They got to win half these games, so hopefully they do. And then question
time. Mike,
go quick. Yeah.
Bring your question. Oh, you're not going to ask it?
No, I'll go first. Okay.
Yeah, you go first.
In 1999, who did the Islanders draft in the 8th round? He's a defenseman.
What?
Oh, yeah. God.
Is this a player that actually saw NHL time?
Yes, tons.
Okay.
And I'll give hints after you guys guess, but it'd be cool if you just guess a name. That was a pretty good hint to start. Played tons of NHL time. John's dying.
Kenny Janssen?
So tired. No, Sean Bates?
Sean Bates is a forward.
I don't. Yeah, I'm so tired.
Okay, ready?
Fine.
His last season in the NHL was 2013-14 with the Islanders. He only played for one other team, and that was the Blue Jackets. So he played from the Islanders from 2001 to 2014. That should really help. I'll even throw this in. He's from the Czech Republic.
Tchaikovsky?
No, he's a forward.
Dude, I'm so tired. Okay.
The Czech Republic. Why am I drawing a freaking blank on this? Okay.
Yeah, I know. You're gonna hate it when you do it.
The Islanders defenseman from 2001. All right, so you would have
through 2014.
It's not Martinic.
Yes, it is.
Oh, all right. That was the first thing that came to mind.
John cheated.
How did I cheat?
You didn't let Brandon get a second answer.
That's fine.
Whatever.
That's a good one, right? 8th round pick. 8th round pick.
I would never have said Radek Martinic, to be fair.
I'm getting hugs. What's wrong?
Oh.
All right. So,
okay, Brandon, go ahead.
All right. So when Doug Weight became the head coach of the Islanders during 2017-18, the running joke was he has way too many coaches. Not counting a goalie coach. What were the names of all of Doug Weight's assistants?
Oh, God.
Oh, come on. This is recent. This isn't that far back.
Doug Weight's assistants?
I don't even know the names of all the Islanders' assistants right now.
Yeah.
It was a complete running joke at the time because, oh, God, he's got so many assistants. So who needs 3 goalies when you have this many assistants? That was the running joke. Really? I really don't know. I'm sorry. Wow.
You're talking about Doug Weight's assistants when he coached, right?
Yeah, when he coached, like as a
full-time. This is of all the hockey stats, like trivia stuff we could do. This is probably one I'd be the worst at because I literally do not pay attention to this. I
agree. Unfortunately, I don't either.
Like I know right now we have Doug Huda. I think
we have Doug Huda and Armstrong. I think is his name.
No, Doug Huda and Johnny McLean.
That's so funny. We didn't even know the second name, and that's now.
Yeah. All right, never mind.
You have to admit, like you really don't pay attention to stuff like. Is it ex-Islanders? Is it ex-Islanders?
No, actually.
Then how would we know?
I wouldn't have known.
Okay. One of them is currently a head coach in the NHL right now, and he just got hired this year.
What?
Dean
No,
Evison?
What's up?
Dean Evison?
No, not Dean Evison. No,
I thought it was the Winnipeg coach, but it's not.
no, he did coach the Islanders during the Fisherman era, but
Paul Maurice, right? Yeah.
no, Rick Bonus.
Oh, Rick Bonus. I mean, I'm sorry. Why did I say Paul Maurice? He was the coach of the Jets, right? At one point.
Yeah, he was last year. Yeah, he left.
Wow, look at me. I can do head coaches. What's wrong? My
Okay.
cat's like, that's such a hard question. Why would
Jordan
you ask?
Green?
Really? Okay. I'll give you a hint on one of the other coaches. Okay, so the first hint was one of the assistant coaches.
Was it Scott Gomez?
I'm sorry?
Was Scott Gomez an assistant? Like he was
Scott
power-
Gomez was still a
One
hockey
of
player
them.
at that point in time.
That's
No,
one
Scott
of them.
Gomez was the assistant power. He was a
Scott
power play.
Gomez, Scott Gomez was one of them.
See, I was right.
And like I said, the first hint was one of them just started their first year as a full-time head coach ever in the NHL.
Ever.
That doesn't help. There's a lot of first-time head coaches. The turnover
this
rate is
year.
insane.
No, first-time head coach this year. This year.
Oh, it's not Marty
This year.
St. Louis. I wish it was.
No.
Can you give the division?
Central.
Is it San Jose's coach?
No.
No. Well.
Who's the Oilers coach currently? Is that
I
Wayne?
think it's like Woodcroft or something like that.
Is not him?
No, it's not.
Oh my
Central.
God.
Oilers are in the Pacific.
All right.
Central.
You got to be specific, Brandon.
I said the Central Division. Come on.
No, I made the joke because it's Pacific. Specific.
All right, Mike, it's your turn.
I could not tell you. I mean,
No,
God,
look,
we erased the only thing I remember from the Doug Waite era is Barzell being nuts with Eberle and Beauvillier.
All I remember from the Doug Waite era is incredible offense with zero defense.
It wasn't even incredible offense. That's the funny thing. Like it was great, but it certainly wasn't going to win them anything.
Just got hired in a Central Division team.
Had a league-leading offense.
Did they?
Yes.
I don't remember
Because I know John's
They
got
led
to
the
go
league
to
in goals.
John has to work
Oh,
later.
I didn't know that.
Again, he it's his first year as a head coach in a Central Division team.
You keep giving the same hint. It's not going to help. I don't know.
Think of all the Central Division teams.
All right, it's your turn. Who do you think?
Jesus Christ.
Who do you think? Lola, give an answer. I don't know. I wasn't born yet.
Who is the coach of the Blackhawks again right now?
That's
Is that who it is?
Yes. I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, fuck.
Is it? Didn't he play for the Islanders though? Or was that the old Blackhawks coach?
No, that was Jeremy Colleton. He used to play for the Islanders.
That's who he played. I remember him from the Sound Tigers.
I remember Jeremy Colleton, yes. Fuck.
That would have been the third hint, to be fair.
Yeah, I know. I don't remember his
the head coach of the Blackhawks.
None of us pay attention to that team. I haven't watched the Blackhawks in like, geez.
Yeah, I used to like the Blackhawks before they were terrible, and I haven't watched them all
I
season.
watched them in the beginning of the year to see Athanasiou, and they looked bad.
Yeah, no, they've been awful.
He also filled in as a head coach for Montreal for an interim 2 years ago when Claude Julien tested for COVID.
Hairy.
If that helps, because that's the Eastern Conference.
All that hair.
You're not going to get the third one, so I'll tell you the third one after you get the second one.
Is it like Davidson or something?
It's not
No.
David Desjardins. That's the old head coach.
Dominic Duchamp got fired last year.
Yeah. All right.
Brandon's questions would take 15 hours.
All right. I'll tell you who it freaking is.
Please.
Luke Richardson.
Okay. I would never have gotten that.
Who is it?
And Luke Richardson.
Oh, you know what? I do remember Luke Richardson. That sucks. I would have.
I don't.
And the third one was
He
Kelly
looks
Bookberg.
like he's like
Okay.
weird looking Wayne Lambert almost. Luke Richardson.
Yeah, he's got a stronger chin though.
Yeah. Who's the third one?
Kelly Bookberger.
Yeah, I would never gotten that.
No.
Yeah, I had no proper way to give a hint for that. I actually thought you would get Bookberger in the first place, though,
No.
because he has such a name.
You got the first one, right? What was the first one again?
Scott Gomez.
Yes, I got.
You
Scott
did
Gomez.
get that one. Yes.
Yeah, I remember because it was frustrating.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Morning
All
power
right, John
play.
wants to go to bed, so.
Dude, I gotta get up in less than 5 hours.
Well, by the way, Brandon, I think from the West, I don't think Nashville's going to make it. So that leaves who?
Winnipeg and Calgary.
What Winnipeg and Calgary, I think, are going to make it.
I agree.
It's Seattle right now, if I'm not mistaken, and Winnipeg.
Oh, so I think it's going to be Seattle and Winnipeg. I don't think Calgary.
Seattle's not in third place?
No, they got bounced out.
Mm-hmm.
They're still great, though. I think they're a lock to make it, right, Brandon? Almost. They're like the Islanders situationally.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's about the same place the Islanders are. They have no goals.
All right. It's been real, y'all.
Yes.
All right. Good night, guys. We will see you soon for another episode.
It's crunch time, baby.
Yeah, exactly.